Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up this afternoon, increasing renewable energy use. Power Authority to soon add solar energy production to hydro generation. We have a report from the Bono region. Also coming up, how to tackle illegal fishing. Two major political parties suggest way forward at a town hall on the fisheries sector. We'll bring you an update. Plus, entire farmlands wiped out as a result of flooding in the northern part of the country. We'll be at Polugu, where farmers say they've lost half of their annual salary. Thanks for being with us. My name is Darryl Kwao. Details right after this break. Welcome back, everyone, to the marketplace. We want to begin with a very important development in our quest to increase our use of renewable energy. The Power Authority will soon add solar energy production to the hydro generation when a 250 megawatt solar PV hybrid plant at Bui is completed in the Banda district of the Bono region. According to the authority, solar energy will be used during the day and switch to hydro during the night. Precious Semevo has more.
The Bui Dam, commissioned in 2013, has the capacity to generate 400 megawatt power, but the Bui Power Authority BPA is ready to configure other renewable energy source to the hydro to show their capacity. This is in fulfillment of the government's policy of increasing the renewable energy mix by 2030 and also in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 7 on affordable and clean energy. BPA is thus constructing a 250 megawatt hydro solar PV hybrid plant at the Bui Enclave for a combined total of 650 megawatt of power. Peter Echampon is the manager, Renewable Energy, BPA.
Ghana government intends to, by 2030, have 10% of its energy generation coming from renewables. So Bui, as an authority within the energy ministry, and towards its contribution in assisting government in achieving this percentage, is developing solar projects. Our development is a bit unique. What we are trying to do is we are doing a hybrid. For solar development, what happens is we depend on the sun to generate energy. In our case, we are using our hydro as part of our generation, our methodology to serve as a storage. So during the day when we have the sun, we use the solar to generate, and at night, the hydros will come in. So we're doing the first of its kind within the sub-Saharan Africa, what we call the hydro hybrid. So that's a solar and hydro PV system to be coupled together. We are carrying out the first phase, which is a 50 megawatt plant. It covers a total area of 200 acres. We are expecting roughly 130,000 pieces of panel to be installed. And the panel capacity is 380 watts per panel.
He said they have expanded the existing Bui generation station switchyard to accommodate the additional energy to be generated from the solar farm as they start commissioning of the first phase in October 2020.
Already has a switchyard with a capacity of 400 megawatts for the hydro. So we've just expanded the existing switchyard to accommodate an additional 250. So when all is done, it will be 650. We will commission it in phases. So the first phase of the 50 will be commissioning by end of next month. That's a 10 megawatts. And then by December, the extra 40 will be added to make it 50. When that is done, we'll move on to the second phase. We are doing the phases in 50. So it means we'll have 5 of this. What we intend also to do it, we'll spread it. We've already acquired lands within the northern region. We have some in Tumu, we have some in Yendi, in Bupe, Sola. But within Bui, we are anticipating to put maximum 250. It will not be on the same side, but it will be spread within the Bui Enclave here. So the entire 50 megawatts will be around $48 million.
Peter Echampon also said as part of the first phase, they will construct a 1 megawatt floating solar plant on the Bui Dam's reservoir.
Bui has a reservoir for its hydro generation, a reservoir with a land space of 444 kilometers square. So as part of the learning curve, we are also putting, as part of the 50 megawatt, the solar PV on its reservoir. We are anticipating to have an initial 1 megawatt, which we scale to 5 megawatts on the reservoir. We can do more, but then, like I said, it's for us to understand and see the processes that goes through, and now we can also, 1, come out with the best technology or construction method, 2, reduce cost. It covers an area of roughly, for the 1 megawatt, under 2 acres. This type of funnel we are using is a bifacial. The one we saw on the land has only 1 phase. But believe me, when you are done and you see it, it will be a nice site. First of its kind in Ghana, first of its kind in West Africa.
For Joy News, Precious Semevo, BPA Solar Farm, Bui.
From energy to fish matters, government says it is currently working on the review of the Fisheries Act 2000 as part of measures to deal with illegal fishing. According to Deputy Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Atukujo, the act is currently before Cabinet. He spoke at a town hall engagement with political parties on fisheries and coastal management challenges in the country.
We want to address the issue of the voluminous bycatch. We set up gear audit team that went to audit the gears. They also did audit on the land. So we checked the opening of the gears, we checked the mesh size, we checked the codent. And so we have come out to understand that some of the gears are about 40 meters when they are supposed to fish within 30 meters. And so we are currently reviewing the law, the Fisheries Management Act of 2002. We have the document before Cabinet. Not the law itself, but we are asking approval from Cabinet to do those amendments, changes. We are bringing gear. We have brought gear technologies which are helping us to develop the gear specifications that will be codified in the Act, so that eventually we are telling you what size nest mesh you have to use, the height, and then the codent. This, we believe, will reduce the incidence of excessive and voluminous bycatch. Beyond that, we have also recently gotten approval from Cabinet to implement a co-management policy. Professor Ito, when you were talk about participation governance system, which is absent in our system, but the good news is that now we have a co-management policy which we are trying to implement, but this will also be coded in the new Fisheries Act to ensure that management of fisheries is transferred to regional bodies, to coastal bodies, to communities, even down there, so that they themselves, the communities themselves will be participating in deciding what happens in the coastal areas. This will ensure that the communities can assist us, because the major problem of cycle is not that government is not willing to fight, but whether the people are actually prepared to follow the law.
The former Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Sherry Aite, says the NDC has plans to introduce research vessels on the country's water bodies to assess fishing practices.
The Navy, we were enforcing, this illegal light fishing. Fishermen were arrested, and then they were sent to the courts, and then we allowed them to sign a bond not to deter them from light fishing. So it's about human activities. I mean, we try to enforce. When you arrest the fishermen, you find a whole association coming to you to beg. So please, we must come together to fight illegal light fishing, because some of the fishermen know that light fishing is not good, and they do support the ministry. The research vessel, I really don't understand the question whether I was speculating. When I was Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, I started in the process to procure a research vessel. And the way fisheries is going, I mean, we need a research vessel. So I'm not speculating.
Well, so fish has become a very important subject in the lead up to the election in December. Good time to check with the Ghana Chamber of Aquaculture, which has come up with a weekly prize pool for tilapia and catfish. Joining us via Zoom is Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Jacob Ajika. We'll talk about the weekly prize pool in a bit, but great to have you on the program. Tell us a bit more about your chamber and the work you've been doing since you set up.
Chamber of Aquaculture Ghana is a professional organization dedicated to promoting sustainable aquaculture practices throughout the country. And we do this through advocacy, research, and also increasing collaboration among major key stakeholders in the aquaculture industry. So as a chamber, we have members who are mainly businesses that are registered and licensed to operate in the aquaculture industry. And they are farmers, fish feed producers, fish health entities, fish processors, and indeed fish distributors, and members all over the country.
Great stuff.
So,
great stuff. In fact, I was fascinated when I got to hear about a chamber for aquaculture, and you had that discussion before our interview, how fish matters have become very important in our conversations in the lead up to the elections. What do you consider the major challenge for the aquaculture industry in Ghana?
Well, the major challenge is the cost of production, and this is related to high cost of fish feed. At the moment, production for a kilo of fish costs around 6.9 Ghana cedis, which is averagely 60 to 17% of the production cost. And this is attributed to the cost of producing fish feed. Fish feed manufacturers at the moment are paying over 25% of import tax on some of the fish feed raw materials that is imported into the country. So this, in a way, affects the cost of fish feed that is produced by these fish manufacturers. And recently, indeed, we engaged the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development on this. And at our last meeting, the Honorable Minister of the sector assured us that the government is working on that to give tax exemption to fish feed manufacturers. As of now, we are waiting. We are waiting to enjoy this benefit, and we are waiting to receive an official confirmation of this. If this is done, it will go a long way to support fish production in the country. At the moment, Ghana has one of the best ecosystems for aquaculture production. But at the moment, we are doing around 60,000 metric tons. In fact, the industry can actually do up to 180,000 metric tons per annum. So we believe that as a chamber, if this fish feed exemption is given to the fish feed manufacturers, to go a long way to affect the cost of production, because their cost of production will not come down, and a lot of people will be encouraged to go into aquaculture production. So that's one. And also, we've noticed another trend which is related to fish health issues. Disease, etc., is part of aquaculture production, and we've noticed that this is gradually becoming a big deal. I'm sure you are aware that in the past 2 years, the industry suffered from severe fish kill or mortality. Right. However, we are aware that the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture and the Fisheries Commission have started a vaccination program. That is very good, and we'll also encourage them to do that. And we also appeal to the government to invest into laboratories, because at the moment we have limited laboratories in the country to diagnose fish diseases, etc. And we believe there is some good investment to modern laboratories. It will go a long way to help the farmers and to solve this challenge that is related to fish health.
Yeah, and it's important you raise the subject of fish health because in the last couple of years, we've also had to deal with stories of poisonous fishes in the system. Well, let's go to the exciting bit for me. Your chamber has come up with a weekly pricing pool for fresh tilapia and catfish. Tell us about your latest update.
Yeah, the latest update was week 39. That's last week. The chamber came up with this initiative because we noticed that in the past, stakeholders or industry players struggle to have access to market intelligence when it comes to pricing, and also to know the trend of prevailing prices of fish products. As a result of that, usually the smallholder farmers especially, suffer a lot, because it appears the middleman determines the price for the fish, and it wasn't the best. So we came up with this initiative to provide this kind of market intelligence to all stakeholders. So from the comfort of your home, you could know the price of prevailing price for the previous week, and you can determine the price at which you want to sell your fish. That is tilapia or catfish.
And I realized that you're seeing some marginal increases, just marginal. What's accounting for that?
Yeah, what's accounting for that is at the moment there is shortage of tilapia in the industry. And this is also one of the impact of COVID-19. You know, when the COVID-19 pandemic started, most farmers were unable to sell their live fish stock. As such, they kept it in the water for a very long time. Then gradually, when the restrictions were eased, they started selling gradually. And what it means is that, you know, when the longer you keep your fish in the water, it affects or it disrupts the production cycle. So from March to August, most farmers were unable to stock.
Okay.
They were rather focusing on how to get rid of their live fish stock.
Right.
And gradually, most of the farmers have done that, and we have what we can supply to the industry is very limited.
I see.
So actually, demand of tilapia and catfish is higher than what the industry can supply at the moment.
Great, great. I've got to let you go, but I just wanted to ask you a personal question. Between fresh tilapia and catfish, what's your personal favorite?
Oh, wow. Both is my favorites.
I'll tell you mine. I'll tell you mine. That is catfish with a hot pepper sauce. Inshaallah, if you're watching, you have to do something about it. Thanks very much, Jacob Ajikat, CEO of the Chamber of Aquaculture. Great speaking with you this afternoon. Now, imagine losing half of your annual salary. That's the grim reality farmers in Polugu in the Upper East region are faced with, following the northern flood disaster which wiped out the entire harvest. Now, speaking to the host of the Super Morning Show, Kojo Yankson, the farmers said they are unable to feed their families and called on government to come to their aid with food and supplies.
So, in your community, I mean, I can see about 10, 15 men here. How many farmers do you have in total in your
The community is just full of farmers. We are born into farming, so we cannot even say that we have a number of these as farmers. Everybody, the livelihood of us is to farm.
I see.
Just few that have maybe other government sector working small.
So this is your main occupation?
Yes. The major occupation here is farming.
Okay. Is there anybody here whose farm was not destroyed?
No, we're all affected.
All of you, your farms, all gone?
Yes.
I want an idea of how much money you have lost. Normally, your harvest, how much do you get for your harvest?
Personally, myself, I think what I've lost this time around is almost about 5,000, sorry. It's about 5,000. But I think my colleagues, some of them are even doing better than me. So maybe they might have even lost more than what I have done.
So if you are a maize farmer, for example,
yes,
you harvest how many times a year? Twice a year?
Yes.
And one of your harvests has just...
It's almost all. Because the time of the first harvest delayed because the rains didn't set in time. So it's like
some of you farmers have actually lost
twice.
Two harvests.
But others, they were able to harvest the first one, depending upon the time he started the dry season, the irrigation one before he will harvest.
So how are you going to feed your families?
It's not going to be we for ourselves, God for us all. That depends on God. But 1 acre we can harvest.
We can't depend on God only. Because we also rely on government. Because we can't depend on God only. God knows that we have lost. But government doesn't know. Maybe he's out there. Government is out there. He doesn't know that we have lost a lot. So I just feel that if government can come in, at least give us the necessary support that we need.
A grim situation there for farmers in the northern part of the country. Now, the Australian High Commissioner to Ghana says the private sector is much more a powerful driver of economic growth than foreign aid. According to Gregory Andrews, patronizing made-in-Ghana products should be a deliberate effort to anchor the president's ambitious agenda of Ghana beyond aid. In an exclusive interview with my colleague Fred Duho, the High Commissioner has been sharing his 2 months' experience with local SMEs.
But coming to the point you made about small and medium-sized enterprises, the President of Ghana, he's been very clear about Ghana beyond aid. And that doesn't mean that Ghana doesn't need aid, but the private sector is a much bigger and more powerful driver of profit. The private sector is a much bigger and more powerful driver of poverty reduction than aid. Aid can play an important role, but small and medium-sized enterprises can make a real difference. So Agatha, who lives up the road from the High Commission, who I buy my bread from, by sharing and promoting her small business, I can support her and her family and support local economies here in Ghana.
Patronizing their goods or whatever they sell, what has been the experience? Well,
Probably sounds a bit cheeky, but I think I've got a pretty good haircut. And it was 20 cedi from a local Ghanaian hairdresser just around the corner. So my experience has really been to get great quality services, whether it's bread, a haircut, cane furniture from across the road, banana plants or other plants that we're buying for our garden here. But probably more enriching than that is I'm meeting real Ghanaians. I'm meeting the local people and making friends with them.
And in all of this, do you think that they kind of treat you differently, otherwise that they would have done to the ordinary person on the street?
Not at all. I think Ghanaians, like Australians, believe in equality and treating everyone decently. And everybody here treats me with kindness.
Now, some news just coming into us. Telecoms giant MTN has indicated the recent bonus offered to subscribers classified as a tax absorption operator. MTN last week announced that it will offer 5% as bonus for every recharge on voice, data and money. Now, according to the operator, this is part of strategies to offer relief to customers. Let's hear from Corporate Services Exchange Manager Samuel Kranting, who's been speaking to the situation.
As a result of the reduction in the CST, we are offering a 5% bonus on recharge as well. That is on top of the reduction. What it is that after the CST reduction, which is as a result of the law that has been passed, as a goodwill to our subscribers, we're adding on a 5% bonus on every recharge of our 20th anniversary celebrations, where we made a commitment through the MTN Ghana Foundation to institute this Bright Scholarship Awards, the MTN Bright Scholarship Awards, where we're supporting 300 bright but needy students in tertiary institutions. So that was the rationale behind this program. So we're here today to award 50 bright but needy students, 50 because they are from southern Ghana. We have another 50 from the northern side of Ghana. So in total, this year, we have awarded 100 scholarships to bright but needy students to cover the cost of their tuition, their accommodation, and we also give them a stipend for their books and other materials.
And that's the marketplace. My name is Darryl Kwao.